Listening to 620 AM KEXB.
Welcome back as we continue our broadcast from the Four Seasons Hotel for the AT&T Byron Nelson Golf Classic. What a beautiful facility here. We talk about company culture all the time on this show, and I know that you have a great culture in your real estate company.
Yeah, and that's something that really drew me to the company that I'm with now. So Rogers, Healy & Associates is the real estate brokerage that I work for. But the big difference in what made me choose it was truly the company culture and it being so supportive and people truly wanting each other to succeed. While it's competitive and it's a very competitive industry by nature, we still support each other, and it has such great energy and wanting to encourage each other through healthy competition, and it's great. I mean, we know that there's always someone to be able to turn to and to be able to lean on if you need them. It's not so cutthroat, which is hard to find in this industry.
And your boss is very approachable.
Very, very. Has such a great personality, so down to earth, easiest person to talk to, and he's just a great leader because he's a peer as much as he is a leader too. He's relatable. Yeah.
I want to bring in Bobby Albert, values-driven leadership on the line. Something very interesting happened here recently with, I got to say, Bobby, one of my favorite celebrities, Mr. Steve Harvey. Good afternoon, Bobby.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be on your show this afternoon.
Well, thank you so much. I'm sorry we had to shuffle around. We've had being live here, we've had people walk up and things get a little hectic. I would imagine you can understand that, but we certainly appreciate you touching base with us once again. Let's talk about just how important a company culture is and the fact that someone's boss and your employees, I guess the relationship you have with a boss or an owner has got to be healthy and open. Let's just talk a little bit about company culture.
Sure. One thing about culture is people often ask me, well, what is culture? Well, be honest with you, it's very challenging to define. It's kind of like, have you ever seen the wind? No, we've never seen the wind, but we see the effects of the wind. Like you, I live in Texas, and the wind blows. And I do a lot of bicycling, and I'm always checking the wind, what direction and the velocity and things. But if I look out my window, I can see the leaves in the trees move. I can see the shrubs moving, side by side. So what I do, I see the effects of the wind, but I don't see the wind. And culture is a lot like that. And that's one reason why I have concluded that culture is the fruit and not the goal. And in many organizations, and this example you mentioned about Steve Harvey, is that without him, I think, realizing that he's end up making the culture in his organization to have a negative impact on the fruit. And it's kind of like a fruit tree. When a farmer plants a fruit tree, and as many people may know, that it takes sometime 2 to 5 years for it to generate fruit. But that farmer spends a great amount of time in the process of preparing the soil, cultivating the tree, is pruning the tree, watering the tree, and through the hard work of the farmer produces this beautiful fruit. And that's what culture is if it is handled, just I heard y'all speaking about just a moment ago, a lot has to do with the leadership because everything rises and falls with the leader.
Mm-hmm. Bobby Albert joining us on the phone, values-driven leadership. Let's explain to you, because I was trying to explain to Ashton just what Steve Harvey sent out to his employees in that email. Can you kind of recap that for us?
Well, what he did, he sent out an email to his employees, which he has apparently about 80 employees, and what he was saying things like, "Don't bother me when I'm in my makeup room. Don't even talk to me in the hallways. But one thing he did say that was positive, everything was kind of very negative, very demanding, was if you want to talk to me, set up an appointment. And I can understand somebody wanting to gain control of their calendar. But one thing that surprised me about this, about Steve Harvey, is that he hasn't had that understanding that it's not what you say and do, it is how you say and do it. I can see that he apparently has a behavior of he's just a hard driver for results, and enhancing relationships takes a back seat. And one thing that someday he's going to learn that his best employees are going to leave him and leave him with employees that are substandard in their performance.
I can say amen to that. I've been working for several broadcasting companies, and I will say that I've tried to do my best, Bobby, to work for companies that have good values and good leadership. And of course, not everybody is that fortunate to have that option, and sometimes you're forced to work with companies that you just don't like. So let's talk about the services that you offer. Do you speak to companies, and do you consult companies about enhancing their company culture, or maybe how to deal with poor management? And give us an idea of what exactly your services are.
Well, thank you for asking. I'm an author and speaker and a consultant. When I help companies, I mainly focus on the leadership, because I just know from experience that if I can help the leader to transform in who they are, it will have a huge impact on the total culture. But I'll be honest with you, most leaders, when they first call me, and sadly, it's almost like I have a recording, but a recording is they want to say, Bobby, would you come in and fix my people? And the truth is that we need to fix the leader rather than the people. And the people will, people do what people see. And when they see the leader behaving in a good way, in a way that employees are looking for, like engaging them, they are going to perform well. Recently, Gallup had a survey of over 1 million employees in 2016, which is a huge sampling. And what they found is that only 33% of the employees go to work each day that are excited about what they're doing and just they're enthusiastic, they have a passion in their work. But sadly, is 67% of employees going to work each day are either not engaged. In other words, when they go to work, to them it's like nah, 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 nah. It's just a routine task that they're doing, or they are actively disengaged. In other words, they're walking in the hallways and they're speaking badly about the boss, about the company. And what's fascinating is that when people work under a bad boss, what bosses don't realize, because they're always driving for results, give me more results, give me more results, give me more results, is what they don't realize in those environments, that kind of culture, their employees will be 50% less productive. This is according to the Gallup survey, and they'll have 44% less profits.
There you go. Bobby Albert joining us on the phone. You can reach BobbyAlbert.com. It's BobbyAlbert.com. That's your website for companies that want to reach out to you, and you can perhaps help them get on the right track. I'm with you, my friend, and I think these millennial generation, they will not work for a horrible boss. They won't do it. Mm-hmm. There's just too many choices in the marketplace, and I just think that the quality of life in a company is more important. Thanks for joining us on the line. We appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you for allowing me to be on your show. Thank you.
Absolutely. Go to BobbyAlbert.com.
Thank you, Bobby.
For more information on what he does. I tell you, I'm all about the company culture, and I can tell you one thing. the company culture inside here, the Four Seasons, is not too bad.